Mercury is not just communication. Mercury is the part of our soul what yearns to actually learn, what yearns to actually understand. It is our logic, our adaptability, and curiosity for the world. And it is the part of ourselves that has the intellect to understand our world. And according to each individual house, the story is going to be a different one. Today, I'm going to be going through Mercury, through each individual house to see what does this mean for your placement in your personal chart in your Mercury. Let us check it out. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Even though Mercury is a very small planet, it is actually very, very influential in our charts because Mercury is the one that rules our intellectual thinking, our critical thinking, how we process the material world and what do we understand about it. It is the genius part of ourselves and what we naturally incline to want to learn and understand in this world. And because of that, we become agile in our communication. Now, we're going to be going today through each individual house where Mercury can be placed and what does this mean for your personal placement. We're also going to be talking about some remedies as well as what does Mercury signify. But before I get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Vinodini Dasi. I am a Vedic astrologer, author, and practitioner of Bhakti Yoga. So if you are into Vedic astrology, ancient knowledge, and philosophy and self-development, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss any of the nectar. Mercury is a very important planet, and in Vedic astrology, Mercury is called Buddha. Buddha has a very interesting pastime of how Buddha came about to be. Buddha is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Bhagavatam Purana. And in other Puranas, we also find out how Mercury was born through this very interesting karmic union between Chandra, which is the moon, and Tara, which is the wife of Jupiter. Tara was the wife of Brihaspati, which is Jupiter, and she was also very much drawn to Chandra because Brihaspati, being the guru of the Devas, he was always in meditation, always doing rituals, always doing fire yagyas. He was mainly focused on his spiritual work. That Tara started getting a wandering eye, and that's when she started to get very attracted to Chandra, and their union came about. She actually ended up running away with Chandra. And Chandra later on didn't want to turn in Tara to Jupiter. Jupiter got very upset. And Jupiter's like, give me back my wife. And Chandra, the moon, was like, no, I don't want to. And so Brihaspati, Jupiter, had to eventually go to the Devas and ask them to go into war with Chandra so that they can get Tara back. And this caused a major war until eventually Tara decided to go back. And she came back to her original husband. But she came back already pregnant. And she came back pregnant with Buddha, which is Mercury. This caused a great conflict on the Devas. And when Buddha was born, there was a lot of confusion about the lineage. They didn't know, what to think of this. So eventually his brilliance and intelligence were recognized and he was accepted as our Deva, our Graha, our planet, for the intellect and the brilliance of genius. And this is what Mercury represents in all our charts. So the spiritual meaning of this pastime is very symbolic, where Mercury is born from emotion, moon, and wisdom, Jupiter. So it is this combination between the emotions, our mind, the moon, and the part of trying to understand wisdom, which is Tara, trying to be faithful to wisdom, which is Tara. But through confusion, attraction, and complexity, then the mind and the intellect can get confused. So this is why Mercury represents intelligence mixed with duality. It has this dual nature. Naturally, Mercury has this double energy. It has a logic mixed with emotional influence. And it also has communication that can either be clarifying or confusing. So it has this dual nature that Mercury naturally brings. And this is why another reason why Mercury is the only planet who doesn't have an actual sex. It's a eunuch. It is non-feminine and non-masculine. It is a eunuch. So this teaches us, Mercury is trying to teach us that the mind must be disciplined or it becomes scattered. That the mind must be moral or it can cause problems, or like major problems even with the devas, how it happened with Jupiter and Tara. Intelligence without integrity creates instability in our lives. So we can be very smart, but if we're using our intellect to do bad things, to cheat, to get away with things, to lie, then this will create instability in our lives. And clarity comes from alignment, not just information. So it needs to have this alignment of, yes, logic and reason with wisdom, or emotions with wisdom, so that it can actually be in alignment with ourselves. That's when we say having our mind and our hearts all in alignment with each other so that we can make the right decisions in our lives. This is called being congruent, being in congruence with ourselves. Our mind is not wanting something and our heart is wanting something else. It's like, no, we have it both aligned towards the same direction. And this is an important thing for Mercury and the intellect to work well in our lives. So the role of Mercury in Vedic astrology is a very interesting one, because Mercury naturally rules and governs the intellect, the analytical thinking, logic. And this naturally gives rise to communication, speech, how we talk. Therefore, it is attached to writing, to teaching, to learning, how we learn, how we teach others, how we write. And all of this is directly connected to business, to negotiation between two parties as we are speaking and negotiating something for a trade, to trade something. This is another reason why Mercury naturally also rules the stock market, because it is the part where we trade. Also, logic and reasoning, adaptability and curiosity. This is what keeps us wanting to learn. And the mind being dual, this Mercury energy is meant to be adaptable, so that it can adapt to the world, adapt to things, and not be a rigid mind. And also, it has a natural youthful spirit. That's why at the beginning of our lives, when we are kids, most of our days go into learning. The child wants to learn, wants to understand. It is curious about everything. It is asking questions. It is learning speech. It is learning writing. It is learning reading. And it's most of the youth of everyone in the world, it is dedicated to developing this mercurial energy. Therefore, Mercury has this natural youthful spirit to it. Now, when Mercury is strong, it gives us clear communication. It gives us a sharp intellect. We learn quick. We understand things quickly. We can focus and be disciplined. The mind can be focused and be disciplined to learn something. That is when a Mercury is strong. It has good decision making. It has a nice business success because it can negotiate. It is also very humorous and witty. A person with immense wit and intelligence, and being humorous is somebody who has a very agile mind. And it also has a great learning ability. So this is when we have a very strong Mercury naturally. Now, when we have a weak or afflicted Mercury, this may bring overthinking, anxiety. The overthinking leads to anxiety, leads to doubts, leads to confusion, and all of this starts leading to miscommunication. And all of this also starts leading into indecisiveness. We can't make up our minds about anything. We are always in this anxiety to make the wrong decision. And when we make a decision, we regret making that decision, and then we wish we would have made another. So it's always this mental stress. The nervous system is imbalanced. Cortisol is really high. There's an inability to focus. So ADHD or anything like this, it's like it could show that there's a weakness to the Mercury. So focusing, having this mental sharpness is no longer there when the Mercury is weak. So this is when we have weak Mercury. Now, this is definitely something that we can definitely see in the world. We can understand that Mercury, the spiritual significance, a deeper spiritual significance of Mercury is that the mind is a tool. Okay, we are here to use our intellect for making discernment and decisions with discernment. The ethereal body is made out of three things. It is made out of the mind, the intellect, and the false ego. The mind is the moon, and the intellect is this energy of Mercury, and the false ego is the false ego of the sun. So this ethereal body, where our mind lies, the mind is perceiving everything, and it is emotional. It is taking in everything emotionally, but the intellect is above the mind, making decisions. It is the tool that helps us to actually have that discernment in life and discernment in what it is right and what it is wrong. So this is the spiritual significance. We use the intellect of Mercury to understand what it is right and what it is wrong, and how do we process this intellect and understanding in our lives. It is also the bridge between the thought and the expression. So what do we think and how we're going to express that? That is Mercury for us. How we come up with some idea, and how is it that we later express it, either through writing or through speaking or through speech or through logic or through even our hands by making something. Mercury rules naturally this hand energy. And it is also the ability to interpret reality. It is the ability to see and interpret reality, and to understand reality for what it's for, to see when Maya is in charge, to see which gunas are in charge, if it's tamas, rajas, or sattva, and to understand the external and material world, while at the same time eventually taking the mindset or the intellect to a whole new level of transcending knowledge. So the higher level of Mercury teaches us discernment, awareness, conscious communication, and alignment between the mind, speech, and truth. That all of these things are in alignment, and that the mind is with the speech, the intellect is with the speech, and with the truth of what we're saying. So this is this more spiritual significance of Mercury and some of the understanding of what Mercury means. Now, let us understand what are some remedies that we can do to strengthen our Mercury. First and foremost, one of my favorite remedies to do is to actually wear green on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is the day that Mercury rules. And so wearing green on Wednesdays will definitely bring balance to the energies of your Mercury. Another great remedy is also always speaking truth. Never gossip. Gossiping, lying, immediately weakens your Mercury. So it is extremely important to always speak your truth. We can also strengthen Mercury with practicing conscious speech. Instead of reacting to what people are telling us and then we just react and say whatever, we actually learn to respond. We learn to respond, think before we speak. And that is one of the ways to actually strengthen a lot of this energy of Mercury. Another very good remedy is mantra chanting. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Especially if you chant it on Wednesdays, and especially if you chant it on a Wednesday during Mercury Hora, then that's going to be even better. I say to best chant it for at least 108 times, which is the complete complete mala. That will be very, very good to strengthen the Mercury so that you can have a stronger Mercury. Also, Mercury becomes strong when speech is aligned with truth, as we mentioned. Another thing that can strengthen Mercury is studying and learning discipline. Okay, reading regularly, studying sacred texts, reading sacred knowledge, and learning something new every single day. Doing like crossword puzzles or doing like Sudoku or anything where it's like you were mentally learning, we're mentally thinking, we're mentally making analysis, because Mercury thrives on this intellectual engagement. So having some crossword puzzles, having some Sudoku, having some reading regularly, and preferably from a book instead of like the phone, because the blue light is not the best thing either. And studying sacred texts, especially if we read like ancient knowledge like the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita. These are wonderful ways to really strengthen the energy of Mercury. Another great way is nature and grounding, believe it or not. So spending time in nature to calm the nervous system. One thing that can disbalance Mercury is too much stimulation of the nervous system. And nowadays, we have a lifestyle that stimulates our bodies and especially our nervous system way too much. Our phone immediately is stimulating our nervous system. The constant ads, the constant colors, the constant flashing lights, especially as we're scrolling, like doom scrolling is a terrible thing for Mercury. It weakens the Mercury even more, because we're not even paying attention. We're making our short attention span even shorter, and it's actually just draining our energy. We're not thinking, we're not processing, we're just like dumb scrolling through it. So this also makes the nervous system more hyped, more energized, more stimulated. And if we don't have a way to relax the nervous system, then Mercury becomes weakened and disbalanced. So believe it or not, strengthening our parasympathetic system, relaxing our nervous system, not overstimulating our nervous system, is a great way to bring strength to our Mercury. Toning down on the stimulants, toning down on, for example, too much coffee, toning down on too much caffeine, energizing drinks, toning down on like Adderall or things that are going to be highly stimulating to the nervous system. This is actually something that can bring the Mercury and weaken it. So calming the nervous system, deep conscious breathing, walking in nature, turning off the electronics, turning off the phone, not looking at the phone right before going to bed. This can weaken the Mercury because the nervous system never gets a break. And so overstimulated nervous system definitely weakens our Mercury ability. And it actually has been proven to age us even faster. So Mercury is easily overstimulated, and that's the reason why it needs grounding, silence, meditation, chanting, relaxation. Another wonderful way is abhidheya, like when you grab some oil and you massage your whole body and you give yourself like a massage throughout your whole body before you go to bed. This is a wonderful way to relax the nervous system down, to tone it down, and that is going to also strengthen your Mercury. Now, when it comes to charity and Mercury, we want to donate on Wednesdays, and we want to donate green vegetables, green clothes, books or educational materials. Specifically if we donate to children, or if we donate to schools, or if we donate for their education, this is a wonderful way to bring healing to Mercury and strengthen it. Now, mindfulness practices are fantastic for Mercury. Meditation, breath work, and journaling and mantra chanting are amazing to calm mental fluctuations and to also relax the nervous system, and all of this is going to also strengthen our Mercury. Now, when it comes to diet, eating fresh, healthy, light foods, greens, fruits, herbs, these are the best things for Mercury. It is a wonderful way for Mercury to stay strong with greens, fruits, and herbs. Lots of vegetables, lots of green, leafy greens and green vegetables. This is a great way to not overly stimulate the body. And as I mentioned, not too much sugar, not too much caffeine, not too much like things that are going to get us hyped up and skeeted, like more grounded, more relaxed. And I know that at the beginning it could feel like, oh, but I need a lot of coffee. If not, I can't work. This has been because we've pushed the threshold of our ability to be attentive without an overstimulant. So yes, weaning off and everything may take a while, but eventually the nervous system will regulate again, and you will be able to still be focused, still pay attention, still wake up, still feel vitality without needing to force it with a stimulant like caffeine or anything else. Now, these are some of the remedies that we can use naturally for Mercury to get stronger in our charts. And now we're going to see how Mercury is in each individual house. If you do not know where your Mercury lies in your Vedic astrological chart, then I suggest that you go into my website. In the description here below, you will find a link to a Vedic astrological calculator. There you will be able to find out the placements of your chart. And once you find it, come and check out, find in the timestamps where your Mercury and what house it's in, so that you can find out how your Mercury works. Welcome, Mercury in the first. If you have Mercury in the first house, this is your summary for what it means for you. Now, Mercury in the first house, we can say that the keywords are a mind-oriented disposition. You are definitely an embodiment, especially if Mercury is here alone. You are definitely an embodiment of that intellectual energy, that mind-oriented human being. When it comes to Mercury being strong in the first house, we definitely have a very discriminating nature. People know you to be that person who is highly critical thinking, who can solve problems, who's very smart, who's very intellectual, who's very scholarly, and who can always give you an amazing conversation, and pretty much that person that you can always learn something from. You are somebody who always has something to say. You know a lot from many things. And so you can always have a great conversation with any type of person from any place or anywhere. There's always this natural curiosity about you. You're naturally curious. You naturally make questions. You naturally are very inquisitive in your life. And because of this, you are very amazing to talk to. You always give an incredible conversation to anybody who ends up having a conversation with you. You have a youthful disposition about you. Your body stays youthful. Your mind stays youthful. It is highly important for you to always be learning something, even if you end up, in your 70s, 80s, learning, reading, understanding. This is part of your destiny, of your dharma, to constantly be learning many, many things. Especially if you're learning inside the house, especially if you have a library inside your house, it brings a lot of auspiciousness into your life. You have a very cheerful, youthful spirit about you. You are very witty. You are kind of humorous as well. People see you as somebody who can always make a joke or always crack a joke or always has something to say that it really can shock people, or it can make people think deeply. You're very budget oriented. You're very logistical in the way you go about your life. You make sure that you're budgeting everything that you're spending and how you're spending, and you know where money's going, and you know how you are spending your energy, not just money, but just like overall your energy. If you really have a to-do list or an organized lifestyle, you can really accomplish many, many, many things, because you need to have this organized life. You know that you wake up and then you work on this, and then from this time you work on that, and from this time you are reading books, and from this time you're studying this. Like kind of as if you were like in a schedule of school. If you can maintain this throughout your life, this is when your Mercury becomes very, very happy, especially doing it from the home. Now, there's also an inventive energy. You're very innovative. You're always like thinking and innovating and seeing how it is that you can create, or how you can think outside the box, or how can something make you think or stimulate your mind naturally. You are very good at debates or questioning the issues at hand. So you could be a great debater. I mean, I'm sure people may get scared to debate with you because you are somebody who's extremely intelligent, and you just ask the right questions all the time. You just don't accept things. You need to understand where they come from. You need to understand why they are. You need to understand, where does this come from? This is why most probably ancient scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, can be such an incredible tool for you to finally get like all those answered questions that you have in your mind. There's also very conscious. You're very conscientious of everything, of how you speak, of how you talk, of how you come about, of how your presence is. So when the Mercury is in good position here, it really gives you that conscientious understanding of your life. You are also very principled and very ethical normally. Even if you are an atheist, there is this sort of dharmic energy about you where it's like, I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and I follow that through. Very truthful in that manner. There's also a religious and philosophical side of you, and very mathematical and scientific. So it's like the whole scope of intellect. That's when your Mercury is very high. You're not just scientific, but you also understand the philosophical part of life, the religious, theological part of life, along with the scientific part of life and the mathematical part of life. So very, very highly scholar. I mean, if you have this placement, I highly suggest for you to really push yourself mentally, because you can definitely reach some amazing heights when it comes to intellect and scholarly energy. There's also a very good speaker. People love to listen to you. People love to listen to your communication, the way that you express yourself. People love to listen to how you deliver things. So you have a very good speaker naturally. You are resistant to aging. Like I mentioned, your body is just like youthful for a very long time. It just has this youthful quality about it, and it is very vibrant. So you have like a young spirit throughout your whole life. You have great abilities to become a great astrologer, because to become an astrologer, you need to have a pretty powerful mind to remember so many things at once. So you can become a very good astrologer, a very good mathematician, a very, very good scientist, chemist, anything that requires a lot of intellectual understanding. You love numbers and letters. There's this fascination with numbers. There's this fascination with writing, with letters, with understanding. This is when we have a strong Mercury naturally in the first house. Now, if your Mercury is badly aspected, retrograde, or is in a debilitation here, then you may have some different results. And if you do have any of the results, like you may criticize a lot, you may worry over everything a lot. Like your mind does not stop, and it's always finding some fault. It's always finding some issue. It's always finding some problem. It's always finding something to doubt, something to not believe in, something to criticize, something to complain about. Then you definitely have to strengthen your Mercury. And I highly suggest that you go check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that will definitely show you how it is that you can strengthen your Mercury. You may be very hard to please. Okay, you may start having some really intense high standards where nothing can please you and nobody can please you. Even if they do it right, it's not enough for you. There could also be too much focus on too many details, to the point that it's like it's irrelevant now. You know, like kind of like, oh my God, the pixels in this image are this tiny, nobody can see, but if I get really close, I can see the pixel, and that's wrong, and that's a problem, and that's an issue. So this is also another part that it shows that your Mercury can be weak if it's showcasing this. Also, getting into a lot of disputes and arguments all the time. So this can also show that there's a weakness to your Mercury if it's in the first house. Definitely do the remedies. You can be a micromanager, where you're just like always micromanaging people because you think that they're doing it wrong, they're not doing it right. You are constantly correcting them, constantly telling them they should be like this or should be like that. That is also a weakness to your Mercury in the first. Takes things too literally. You may have a problem being able to just be a little bit more lenient. You take things too literally. There could also be mentally overworked, where your nervous system is always in stress, always in this alert mode. Cortisol levels are really high, and you're constantly being overworked mentally. And because of this, you may take a lot of caffeine and a lot of stimulants to try to keep you up to date with the tasks and all the works that you have to do. So you eventually do become overworked, and your nervous system becomes overwired. There's also an energy of mind may go too fast even for your own good, to the point that normal speed of life becomes annoying. People in their normal pace of life becomes annoying, becomes stressful. And so you need everything to be fast, everything to be going, everything to be now. And that hastiness could be making more mess, and it can actually be a sign of weakness in your Mercury in the first. Also, in a more physical situation, you can have respiratory problems, issues with your lungs and your respiratory system, mental afflictions, having like a lot of mental stress, anxiety, restlessness, ADHD, psychosis, like the mind now it's going into like a lot of disbalance. Also adverse to showing affections. You may have like this sort of detachment to affection and being too unaffectionate with others. So if you are experiencing any of these weaker parts of Mercury in the first house, then I highly suggest that you go do the remedies at the beginning of the video. That is definitely going to help you and is definitely going to help you to strengthen your Mercury. Alrighty, guys, and those were general messages. If any of this resonates and if you would like to actually understand your chart a lot deeper and go deep into your own personal identity and your own personal path in your chart, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one today using the link. Alrighty, that is for you. And now we're going to be doing our beautiful Mercury in the second. Welcome, people who have Mercury in the second. If you have Mercury in the second house, then this is your summary for what it means. Now, Mercury in the second house, we can say that it is a financial mindset. With my mind on my money and my money on my mind. This is literally your anthem. You are highly, highly intellectual to understand financial life and to understand how to make money. Your mind is always making some sort of new idea on how to make money. Your mind just works in learning how to monetize things. You see something and you're like, whoa, we can make money in this way, in this way, in this way. Like your mind naturally is making the whole business plan and understanding how it can create abundance. Now, because this is also the house of the voice, of the speech, it can make you very humorous if you have a very strong Mercury in the second house and well aspected. It can make you very humorous. It can make you also a student of philosophy. A powerful student of philosophy. It can make you a very powerful speaker, a very powerful, clever with finances naturally. You could be a great financial advisor and somebody who just knows how to, where to put the money, how to put the money, and how to make it happen. So Mercury is very powerful with these energies. Since Mercury is naturally aspecting the 8th house of other people's monies as well. So yes, you can be a great trader. You can be very good at making money through trading, through speculative business, through financial planning, and becoming a financial planner, because you're just very clever with finances naturally. You are also prudent. There's a prudence about you. You kind of may have a little bit of slowness to just reactively speaking. So you're a little bit more prudent in the things that you say and how you say them. You also enjoy the refined cuisine. This is also the house of the mouth and the consumption. So you like fine cuisine, you like fine food. You can't just be eating the same smorgasbord every single day. You need to be eating like variety of foods, fresh foods, healthy foods. And this is also something that your Mercury here in the second house shows when it's very strong. You also are a very pleasant speaker. Naturally, your voice and your communication match very nicely, that people actually love to hear you speak. Some of you guys will actually make money through your speaking abilities and communication abilities naturally. So here Mercury is very powerful, and you do very well when you don't curse, you don't argue, you don't when you don't curse, when you don't gossip, and when you don't criticize. Your Mercury becomes even more strong here and more dignified and more valuable. You are also very diplomatic because of that. So you see no of this gossip and criticism. Like you can stay in this diplomatic energy, and being in that diplomatic energy helps you to create a stronger and more powerful influence of money to come into your life, while at the same time also having a very powerful Mercury in your second house. You also have a youthful face. Okay, you have a youthful face, a face that people are naturally attracted to. You naturally have a youthful face for most of your life. So it gives you that ability to stay kind of young looking naturally. There is also very truthful. And when your Mercury is strong here, you become very truthful. And this brings up your value, which makes it for you to attract more money in your life. You are good with math naturally because you're good with numbers, you're good with finances, you're good with financial planning, you're good with math naturally. And math, doing math problems and math things will actually be a wonderful way for you to strengthen and always keep your Mercury very strong in the second house. There's also a very strong business and legal ability. You're very good with business. You're very good at negotiating, especially when money's on the table, and very good with legal situations, administrative situations. Very good at administration, logistics, legal matters. You could be a great accountant naturally when you have a Mercury in the second house. You could be very good at business naturally. And you also may have a very strong ability to have a lot of languages under your belt. You can have a very powerful, you can be a very good dialect transformation with your dialect. You can be very good at knowing many languages. Even just learning a new language for you will be a wonderful way to strengthen your Mercury in the second house. You're very good with writing naturally and speech. So your writing can be very powerful, can be very valuable, and your speech can be very valuable. Again, you can make money through writing or through speaking. There's also a very good ability with computers naturally. You're very good with computers, you're very good with technology, and you have great communication and education matters. This person needs to have a good education. For your Mercury to be very strong in the second house, it needs to have this intellect, it needs to have this stimulation of the mind, it needs to be studying, it needs to go to college, it needs to go to school. And if you didn't get the chance, your parents didn't take you, I will say you by yourself, get yourself into college, because that is just going to really ignite your Mercury to a whole new level. There's great opportunity for immense capacity of learning here for you. Mantra chanting will be very powerful for you as well. Also, you're somebody who naturally enjoys music and singing. So there is something about listening to music and singing that just comes natural to you. Some of you guys may even make money becoming singers. It depends on more aspects of your chart, but that could also happen here. Now, if your Mercury is badly aspected, debilitated, or retrograde, then you can actually get different results here. And I highly suggest that you do the remedies so that you can strengthen it, because you can experience things like mind cannot focus on gaining wealth. So if you feel like you keep talking about that, I'm so good with math and I'm so good with wealth and I'm so good with finances, I'm not. My finances are a mess. I don't have any money. Then this means that your Mercury is weak in the second house. And I highly suggest that you go do the remedies at the beginning of the video. You can also be unreliable. If your Mercury is weak here, you may not have a strong integrity where you say you're going to do something, but then you don't show up. Or you say you're going to show up at this time, but then you show up late or you don't show up. This is really detrimental to your Mercury in the second house. So you need to practice being a reliable person, a person of your word, and a person that is very integral. That is going to strengthen your Mercury in the second house. Also, you're very questionable. You have some questionable finances, which means that the way you make money can be a little bit, if it's weak, you could be making money in bad means, in negative ways, in ways that are not fair, in ways that are illegal or bad. So again, we want to strengthen the Mercury in the second house so that we don't go into these energies. It does not do what they say that they're going to do. That could be another problem here. Like you say you're going to do something, but then you don't do it. You back out on promises. You are dishonest. People can't count on you. Then this means that the Mercury in the second house is highly debilitated. Also, it can spend a long time at the adolescent stage of life. So also this problem of not growing up or like becoming an adult or start taking responsibility for certain things in your life. So this is also another thing that could be happening here when Mercury is in the second house and it's not strong enough. Definitely go do the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can definitely help you. There could also be a low paying credital jobs, like you're not getting paid that much. Like jobs that are administrative, but they're not paying you well. Your finances are not really taking off. This can also show that there's a Mercury debilitation in the second house. The speech problems, where maybe you stutter or you have a lisp or you have some sort of speech issue, then this could also show a Mercury debilitated and not in good position in the second house. We want to strengthen it with the remedies. And last but not least, we can have like sensitivity to the mouth, to the teeth, issues with our gums, issues with our teeth. That could really be something that can affect your Mercury in the second house here, as well as respiratory weakness, asthma, and skin issues. So this could also show that there is some Mercury debilitation here for you. So definitely go do the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can definitely help you to strengthen your Mercury. And those were your messages, my people, with the Mercury in the second house. If any of these things resonated and you would like to actually have a full reading of your whole chart, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one in the link. Alrighty, that is for Mercury in the second house. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the third house. Welcome, people who have Mercury in the third house. If you have Mercury in the third house, then this is for you. Mercury in the third house is actually a very powerful position, because Mercury is the natural ruler of the third house. And so when you have Mercury in the third house, we have an intellectual adventurer. Here, Mercury really thrives. If you have a strong Mercury here, it could really thrive in many, many things, being extremely skilled in so many areas of life, from skills in communication, in electronics, in science, in arts. Like, you have here the mecca of great ability to learn anything you will like under the sun. There is an incredible ability to be a great communicator, networker, marketer, working with social media, working in telecommunications. This just comes natural to you. Great communications in that way. You like to have fun. Okay, the Mercury in the third house likes to enjoy life, likes to have fun, likes to play. There's this playfulness about you, and this is one of the reasons why you may learn things so fast, or why you are able to absorb things so quickly. It is because there is this playfulness about you, this youthfulness. You approach things as a game, you approach things as a playful way, and that way you're able to absorb and understand things a lot deeper. There's also a great ability to draw. You could be very drawn to business and any clerical abilities, because you could even be an amazing entrepreneur, because you just are very good at many skills. You can do many things at once. And because of that, you can be that solo entrepreneur naturally. Now, however, you would do well working with others, no matter what, but you just are somebody who can handle many tasks and run many parts of one business or one corporation at once. You have all those skills to do it. There's also skilled at measuring good relations with siblings and neighbors. So you're very good at handling your siblings, at handling your neighbors, at working with the people around you, at creating community, at bringing people together. Like, you are a natural person that can do this in a natural way. That's why you could be a great marketer because of this. So Mercury here wants you to interact with the immediate world. It wants you to interact with your siblings, with the people around you, with the baker, with the farmer, with everybody who is outside, the store person, the cashier. Like, this is a person that you can make friends anywhere you go, at any corner of the world. And you just have to just be curious and interact with the world and ask questions, and boom, you made a friend or you made a connection. So you're very, very good at this. And especially if you were to do something for your neighborhood or for your community, this is a very strong indicator of having a strong third house Mercury naturally. You have an energy of being very scrupulous and painstaking worker. Like, you are somebody who puts effort into things. When you have a strong Mercury in the third house, you are not afraid to put effort. You don't like to just sit around and talk about it. You're like, well, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Oh, I have to learn how to make a website? Sure, let me learn how to make a website. Oh, I have to learn how to use the software of editing that I've never done before? Sure, let's figure it out. Oh, I have to write a bunch of emails and a bunch of things. Okay, sure, let's do it. Like, you are not somebody who is lazy. There is this natural effort-oriented energy about you, self-motivated, especially if it's about using your skills. You could be an amazing handyman, handywoman, where you just intellectually understand things and you fix things, you make things happen, you organize things. And that is when we have a Mercury strong in the third house. You could be an amazing writer naturally. This makes you a great writer, a great philosopher, naturally, since it's aspecting the ninth house. You can talk about some really high topics, but also talk about some, you can talk about very high topics, but explain them in a very simple way where just even a little child can understand something really complex. You have this ability to teach people in that way. There is also a very powerful energy for religion, for philosophy, for theology, for understanding the truth of life. There could be a truth seeker inside of you naturally. And that is when we have a Mercury strong in the third house. And you could also be possibly, most may do astrology as well. Anything that requires a lot of mental understanding and mental stimulation, that is high thinking, from occult to philosophical learning and theological learning, you are very agile at these things naturally. So you could be really great at this. And especially if you talk about these things, if you talk about these high topics, you will definitely be heard and people will definitely understand you, and you could bring massive understanding to things that are extremely simple. You're naturally courageous, and you're naturally a person that knows how to communicate and how to put effort into things. Very powerful, very artistic, very skillful naturally. Now, if the Mercury is debilitated, retrograde, or badly aspected, then you may be having some different results, like mind cannot focus on anything. It's highly scattered, highly ADHD, or you may be overly detailed into things that now it kind of loses its energy. Okay, you lose the big picture of things, you lose the bigger picture, and you get lost into the little details too much. So lack with focusing, lack with concentrating, not wanting to learn, being lazy about learning, then it could show that there's a weakness to this Mercury in the third house. There could also be an energy of timidness, where it's like you're afraid to talk to the immediate environment, to speak up to people around you, to talk to your siblings, to talk to community, to talk to the stranger in the store. So this could also show that there's a Mercury debilitation in the third house. And I definitely suggest that you go do the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can really help you in strengthening your Mercury in the third house. There could also be an energy of spending too much time reading and thinking rather than acting, where you're just reading and reading, researching, understanding on the computer, but you're not actually acting on it. You're not actually taking action. You're not actually putting effort. You're not actually, getting out of the comfort zone to just analyzing, to actually making it happen and starting to take action. Then this can show a Mercury debilitated in the third house. There could also be an energy where you lack there's a lack of physicality, like you're just constantly in your head and there's not enough body movement, or there's not connection with your body, where there's no like dexterity with your body, where maybe like for example, you may be like, I don't dance, and you may not dance because you're timid, or because you can't get your body to be correlated with what you want it to do. So there's this disconnection with the mind and a disconnection with the body and what you want the body to do. So that could also show a weakness in the Mercury in the third house naturally here. There could also be fatigue. You may also always feel like tired, and like this is what doesn't allow you to put more effort into things. There's like this fatigueness and this tiredness and this sort of I'll do it tomorrow, and procrastination energy that could also show a weakness in the Mercury in the third house. There could be mindful of chatter, where it's like you're overstimulating it with the phone. The Mercury in the third can definitely have a phone addiction for sure. So if this is like overstimulation of the mind, overly stimulating your mind, taking too much caffeine, taking too many stimulants, this can weaken your Mercury in the third house, and then your mind becomes full of chatter, full of things mentally, and there's no mental peace. There could also be an energy of worry where you're just always worrying. You're worrying about this, you're worrying about that. Any little thing is like it worries you. Watching the news, you get full of worry. Watching what other people are talking about, you get full of worry. Watching like the madness of the world, and you get really full of worry. So this could also show a weakness in the Mercury in the third house naturally. There could also be an energy that pain. You may have like pain in the neck. You may have the neck may not be strong. There might be a pain in the neck, or the neck is it needs like work, like chiropractic work. The neck is like down like this, like from watching the phone and watching computers. So a lack of good posture, especially in the neck area, not just the chest, but like the neck area. Neck problems, neck issues, neck tension, neck pain can be a source of Mercury debilitated in the third house. Also an energy of your shoulders and your hands having problems, having issues, having pain. Either you hurt your shoulders, you hurt your hands, there's some pain in your hands, there's pain in your shoulders. Like all of this can also show a weakness in the Mercury in the third house. Respiratory weakness and skin issues can also show a problem with a weak Mercury in the third house. So if you have any of these weaknesses, then I highly suggest that you do the remedies at the beginning of the video. That can really, really help you in strengthening your Mercury a lot more. And if you would like to understand your chart deeper and your Mercury deeper, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book a one-on-one session with me where we go deep into your natal chart and what does your Mercury mean in all your planetary placements according to your personal chart. Alrighty, those were your messages. Mercury in the third, and now we're going to be doing Mercury in the fourth. So for Mercury in the fourth house, Mercury in the fourth house is a very interesting energy. Mercury here becomes very homey. It becomes the imaginative of feelings. Mercury, the intellect, is now fusing into this house of great motherly, nurturing, and feeling energy. So here, Mercury becomes really good at learning through books and lectures, especially learning from home. This person will be great if they're homeschooled. They would actually pay more attention being at home, doing it like that way. They can, even when they get older, keep learning inside the house, having a library within your house. All of these things could be fantastic for you. They're also an energy of very knowledgeable. You understand feelings just as much as you understand like the intellect, like intellectual topics. You also understand those emotional topics as well. So there's a great sympathy that you can create naturally within you when you have a strong Mercury in the fourth house. There's an interest in education and philosophical matters naturally. It makes you feel good. It's like it brings you happiness. And especially if there is like if you share this with your spouse, or if you share this with a partner, this really becomes enhanced for you. A partner, a spouse could be a way to really activate your Mercury to become the best version it can be in the energies of the fourth house. It really brings a lot of happiness. Your intellect becomes connected to your joy here naturally. So you really are that person that if you think happy thoughts, you will feel happy. You really, really have this very strongly when you have this Mercury in the fourth house. You're also highly creative and imaginative because you connect that world of the emotions along with the intellect. You're able to really, people feel what you say. People feel what you communicate. So there's this beautiful connection between emotions and intellectual understanding that you naturally harness when you have a strong Mercury in the fourth house. Here, there's always communication with the mother. Communicating with your mother and also communicating with your spouse could bring a lot of happiness and joy naturally to you. So especially communicating with the mother, speaking with mom, like having, constant communication with family, calling them. This is a great sign of Mercury being strong in the fourth house. There's also an energy where you're very cheerful and very happy and imaginative and highly devoted to your family and to your loved ones. There is this joy that comes from understanding your family, understanding your loved ones, understanding your mother, having good communication between them. When the communication is flaunted, or there's things going wrong, or you criticize your family, or you blame your family, or you gossip about your loved ones, then the Mercury here can become weak. So when it is strong, it is in a very happy mood, and it speaks very beautifully about the family and the loved ones naturally. There is also an agricultural researcher energy. You could be really good with agriculture. You could be really good with growing plants, and you may do it in a very intellectual way, like reading the books about gardening will help you to actually plant the garden easier. Learning about gardening, and it could also be about learning how to make a home, how to literally build a home, like engineering houses, like architect. You could be a great architect with this Mercury in the fourth house. Wonderful architect. It could bring you a lot of joy and happiness. You just naturally know how to intellectually understand how to create a home, how to make a home, and how to grow things agriculturally. You could also be a teacher of math, music, science, and languages, especially for children, especially for the youth, especially for like being that motherly teacher that really teaches their children, their kids in a very wonderful and happy way. And you're very motherly, very nurturing in your communication. When you speak with love, when you speak with this emotional connection, when you speak with this emotional harmony, it brings a lot of happiness into your life, and it also brings a lot of happiness to your loved ones and your family. So, utilizing that nurturing speech could be fantastic. You could just be an amazing cook. If you write a cooking book, oof, you could be great. And if you're like, I don't know how to cook, reading about cooking or understanding recipes, you just need to be that person that intellectually understands how to cook, and you will make some amazing food. So cooking could also be great for you. You could be an amazing salesman of cars, an amazing salesman of houses, an amazing salesman for all conveniences from boats, houses, and cars. Could be really good for you. There could also be a good-humored, kind, and very considerate person. You're just a very considerate person, very kind of like a very strong, motherly, soft person. When somebody has a communication with you or a conversation with you, you nurture them with your words, and they just feel so loved. So it's a beautiful gift to have this Mercury in the fourth house. Now, if your Mercury is debilitated, or if it's in detriment, or if it's retrograde, or if it's badly aspected and it's weak, then Mercury may give you different results in the fourth house. Like it could give you issues with intellectual intellect perverts expression of feelings. So certain things that you understand intellectually, it might distort emotions, and there might be like a disbalance here, like not being able to tap into that sympathy and empathy, and utilizing intellect to override emotions. Could be something that shows here when Mercury is weak and debilitated. Also, anxiety and worrisome mother. You may have a mother that is very worrisome all the time, that is very anxious all the time. And your family members or your mother or your loved ones may bring a lot of anxiety or restlessness to you. So again, soothing the nervous system. And if you are experiencing any of this, then I highly suggest you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that could be a way for you to strengthen your Mercury and for you to get more of the positive aspects of Mercury in the fourth house. There's also this tension or instability in the home always. Like people can't communicate. People feel like they have to walk on eggshells. People feel like they can't express themselves. People feel like they can, raise a concern or talk about something because the communication may disrupt or create issues. Maybe if the Mercury is weak here, you cut communication with family, you cut communication with mother, you cut communication with your loved ones. And this also shows like a weak Mercury in the fourth house. There's also a sort of changes in residencies frequently. There's like a restlessness where you just cannot stay still in one residency, and you have to change, you have to do another, and then another. So this could also be an aspect of Mercury being weak in the fourth house. There could be flat emotions where there's not that expression, that youthful expression in the emotions. Is just kind of like bland and flat, or you numb your emotions, or you don't want to feel your emotions, or you override intellectualness over your emotions. Like, for example, if you start crying or if you start feeling emotional, you're like, oh, I'm so stupid for feeling emotional. Like, like, why? Like, it could be this thing where we're not naturally accepting and loving and honoring the emotions that you're feeling. There could also be cleverness that turns into unscrupulousness. So on like cleverness that turns into sort of this cruelty. So, it's a matter of connecting emotions and intellect here. But if the Mercury is weak, there we could be using it to be mean and to be cruel and to like not be nurturing and to kind of cut people off. And so this is when a Mercury becomes very debilitated in the fourth house. There could also be this energy of not inclined to exert enough effort. So there could be this sort of being too comfortable in your comfort zone, not really putting enough effort out into the world, not putting that energy out to learn, to do, to make it happen. And so the effort can be tamped and damped because of this over comforting energy. Mother doesn't allow you to try new things. Mother holds you back from trying new things or from putting effort into things. Like, you could do your own laundry, but the mother does it for you. You could learn how to cook, but the mother does it for you. And so it becomes this sort of like, I don't need to put effort in the energies of nurturing myself or others. That could happen when we have a Mercury debilitated here. There could also be a nervous stomach. So the stomach is you may have acid reflux, heartburn, the nerve, you could have ulcers in the stomach. So I highly suggest that you do not take caffeine in an empty stomach. Like, be very cautious of what you take on an empty stomach. Eat soothing foods, not irritating foods. Very warm and watery soupies and stew soups. That could be really good to soothe and to kind of balance and bring some remedies into your energies when you have a Mercury in the fourth house. There's also this energy of pain in the mid region, natural kind of like pains in your stomach or in the mid region, heart pains, and hypersensitive and hypocritical. Hypersensitive and a strong hypochondriac, where you also feel like there's always something wrong with you, always something wrong with your body, always something wrong with your health, always something wrong with something. And the stomach is kind of taking all this stress. The stomach takes in all the nervous stressness. In order to bring some balance, I highly suggest that you do the remedies at the beginning of the video. That could really help you. And for you specifically with a Mercury in the fourth house, some of the remedies that can also help you is kind of getting more connected with astrology, the occult, understanding like the unknown, maybe doing some fastings and do some tapasya, some austerities where you hold yourself back from having something that you usually have, in like some sort of promise. Like, let's say, okay, I want to get a better job, so I'm not going to keep overindulging and eating sweets, which is my thing, or smoking cigarettes, which is my thing. And doing those austerities can actually bring balance into your Mercury in the fourth house and make you a lot happier. Alrighty, those were your messages. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like for me to go through your chart and all your placements of your planets and your houses and to get a very strong detailed energies of your own personal chart, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me in the description here below. You will be able to book one in the description below using the link. Alrighty, those were your messages. Mercury in the fourth. I hope that they help. Love you guys so much. And now we're going to be doing, and if you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype. And let me know in the comments if you have Mercury in the fifth house, if this is your placement, and how has it been showing for you. Alrighty, those are your messages. Mercury in the fourth. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the fifth house. Welcome. If you have Mercury in the fifth house, then this is for you. Mercury in the fifth house is a very powerful and strong placement. The key words for Mercury in the fifth house is focused intellect. This is the house of intellect. And when Mercury comes here, we become highly intellectual. We become very smart. Naturally, you're somebody who can understand higher concepts, understand things. You will really benefit from actually having a great education, because your mind really needs to be constantly stimulated. You are very good at business and organizing skills. This is like a natural intellect that you have, like logistical things, communication, organizing stuff. Naturally very good in business because Mercury is the one who rules trade. So you are also very good at business naturally. You also have very refined energy. You could be somebody who's very refined naturally. So Mercury here, when it is in a high energy, when it is in a strong energy, it refines you, it polishes you, it makes you really eloquent and really refined. It is also a great philosophical mindset. You have a great mind, and people really admire your intellectual mind. They really admire the way you think. They really admire the way you go about things. They really admire how you perceive the world and how you come to conclusions. And this is definitely a great ability that you naturally have. Another beautiful thing that I have seen is that people with Mercury in the fifth are just natural comedians. You guys know how to crack a joke. You guys know how to be a natural comedian. You guys know how to laugh at certain at aspects of life. So comedianness, it's like you need to be very witty and intelligent to be able to make someone laugh, to be able to crack a joke. So Mercury in the fifth naturally has this. They also have a big interest in spiritual advancements, and this is also the house of mantra. Mercury can do very well with the energies here, especially if they chant mantras and the remedies that I put at the beginning of the video. If you chant the Mercury mantra, this could be very healthy for your Mercury in the fifth, and it can give you some really good results. Also, there is this energy that you're very concerned for children. So you naturally can think for children. You naturally know what they need. You naturally connect with children at a very awesome intellectual level. You can understand their minds. You can understand how they're thinking, what they're thinking, and how they're processing things. And so this gives you a very powerful connection with this energy. If your Mercury is strong in the fifth house, I've seen that it also can give you twins when you have children. So there's a great connection with children here naturally. Your energy is very childlike. Even though you're highly smart, highly intellectual, there is this playfulness about you, and this, you're the type of person that can actually play with children and have a wonderful time. Not like pretend to play with them and you're like, I wish I was doing something else. Like, no, you can actually be in a very good energy and play with them naturally. Mercury here also gives you very competitive with games and intellectual challenges. So chess could be fantastic for you. Intellectual challenges, games, board games. You're naturally very good and inclined to being very competitive with these things, and you have a lot of fun with any sort of mental competition, spelling bees, mathematical competitions. Like all of these things are great for you. There's also a very good sense of humor. As I mentioned, you could be a natural comic, a natural humorist, a natural comedian. Just it comes to you very, very easily. There's also musical and entertainment interests. You could be very musical naturally. You could be very talented naturally. You could be that person that just understands things very quickly, learns an instrument very quickly. Like your intellect just needs to be put a little bit of discipline in learning the arts, and you catch it very fast. You understand it very quickly. You can express yourself very quickly. There's this ease of being able to express what you see in your mind, to be able to create it into the world, to be able to transmit it into the world. So very, very powerful energies here with Mercury in the fifth house when it is very strong. There's also a mathematical and scientific intellectualness and an intelligence, a genius. Especially you really have to be learning things all the time. It is beneficial for you to be learning all the time. The way, if you ever feel like this Mercury can be a little bit stagnant, learning like occult, learning like sacred texts, reading sacred knowledge, reading astrology, learning about astrology, reading ancient philosophy, ancient scriptures. All of this could be super, super, super good for you as well. Now, when Mercury is badly aspected, retrograde, or is in detriment, then we can have some different results here with Mercury in the fifth house, and we can experience like cold, like somebody who could be very cold and schemy, somebody who is very poor at planning things, who doesn't organize things very well, somebody who can lack affection and romance and romantic expression, somebody who can be very worried or too mental or distant in relationships with children. This can happen if we have Mercury debilitated here. And if you are experiencing any of these things, then I highly suggest that you do check out the remedies at the beginning of the video that I have, because that can definitely help you to have a more strong Mercury. So definitely do those remedies. There's also this energy of having few children, not having that many children. Like, this aspect can give you the ability to have good children and a lot of children, but if it's debilitated, the Mercury here, it gives you few children. There is also this energy of competitiveness. There's also this energy of low virility, not having enough zest for life, kind of being turned off, not having enough spunk and charisma or will to make things happen. There's like a sort of disconnection that can happen here with Mercury in the fifth if it's debilitated. It could be very, you make like these really exact demands that you demand from others, that you demand from people. And this could frustrate you because people can't necessarily give you those exact demands. And so if you become very demanding, cold, distant, and sort of like not affectionate, and like that inner child gets turned off, then this means that the Mercury is in a debilitated energy and it's weak and it needs strengthening. There could also be an energy of not understanding business, unfeeling in business, like ruthless in business, where you just, the fun comes out of it. Like, it's no longer fun. It's just like ruthless business. And so you really work very well if you keep this fun energy, this lightness, this playfulness. That is when your Mercury really feels very happy. So playfulness is very, very important for you naturally here with Mercury in the fifth. It could also be this energy of mental or nervous system problems for children. So your children can have very problems with the nervous system, problems with their mental capacity, because your chart has a weak Mercury. So we want to strengthen that Mercury, make it strong, make it more, bring more of that vitality into it, so that the children can also have a stronger nervous system and a stronger mental capacity. There could also be ailments with the nervous system for you personally, not just for your children. So we want to take care of that nervous system. We want to turn on that parasympathetic system, relax, meditation, deep breathing, pranayama, and all the remedies that I have put at the beginning of the video. Definitely go check them out to strengthen your Mercury if you're having any of these experiences in Mercury in the fifth house. There could also be low fertility, as well as some physicality of physically weak or timid, where you're just like not strong, and there's like this inhibitedness of shyness where you don't express yourself, where there's like this timidness in your life. So expressing yourself, being uninhibited, is like a good sign for Mercury. When you are feeling inhibited, is a weak sign of Mercury in the fifth house. And there could also be a nervous stomach here, where like you eat nervously, or you eat with anxiety, or anxiety eating, emotional eating, and then later your stomach is going through like nervousness, or it's going through upset stomach because of this dysfunction with the nervous system. So very important to eat slow, to chew your food, to maybe not be watching anything while you're eating, to only concentrate on the food that you're consuming, so that the nervous system can really take in and your stomach can really take in the food as well. So if you're experiencing any of these weak energies that Mercury can display when it's weak in the fifth house, then I highly suggest that you go check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that will definitely help you to strengthen your Mercury and make it more strong. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message where we go deep into your natal chart and to understand your natal chart a lot deeper, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one today. So that is for you, my beautiful Mercury in the fifth house. And if you have Mercury in the fifth house, let us know in the comments, how has this really shown up for you and how it has been affecting your life. We would love to hear it, and you will be able to find other people who also have Mercury in the fifth house. Thank you so much for the likes and the comments. And now we're going to be doing our beautiful Mercury in the sixth house. Mercury in the sixth house, welcome. If you have Mercury in the sixth house, you definitely have a very strong placement for Mercury. Mercury actually enjoys to be in the sixth house. And when Mercury is in the sixth house, this is also the original house that Mercury rules, because it is the house of Virgo. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury actually kind of in a way or another becomes a little bit exalted in the energies of the sixth house. The keywords for you is the warrior mind. So this is definitely a strong energy where you definitely become very agile, first and foremost, to fix problems. You are that person that knows how to fix issues, fix problems, get things in organized. You have an amazing logistical mind. You are incredible at putting everything together. Like, you are the best worker, like everybody can count on you to have everything tidy, done, and put in its place, done right to the last detail. You have that capacity. You outsmart any opposition. That's the cool thing about this, because the sixth house is the house of enemies. And when we have Mercury here, you're very intelligent. You outwit your enemies. You outwit your obstacles in life. You outwit anything that is holding you back. Like, you outwit your diseases. You are just somebody who knows how to outwit any sort of opposition in your life, which is a very powerful aspect. Life doesn't get to you. You like really can handle life. You got that warrior spirit to not be defeated by the obstacles and the issues and the problems that life can bring in our lives. We also have a clear-minded. When your Mercury is strong here, you're clear-minded. You're thinking clearly. You have a very strong energy of discernment. Nothing can bypass you. No enemy or opposition can outwit you. You have a very clear mind of how to go about something. You organize it so that you have this clear purpose in your future. There's also this amazing executive ability. You are incredible at the executive. Like, all the miscellaneous work that everybody, doesn't want to do, and everybody's just like, oh my God, it's just a bunch of busy work, I don't want to get it done. Like, you are that person that easily does it, doesn't complain, gets it done. And you're like, that was so easy. I don't even understand why people are complaining about this. So you maintain like amazing executive ability and the ability to be an amazing, super clever planner and clever strategist. You just have that ability. You have that talent to make things more efficient, to create systems that are more efficient, to create systems that are going to give you, like, work harder instead of hard, like work smarter instead of harder. That's literally you, Mercury in the sixth house, when it's strong, literally. So very, very good. And that's why I say that anybody will benefit from having you in their team, or that you're working for them, because they'll just be so amazed by your capacity to be an incredible strategist and an incredible ability to plan things down to the T. You also provide very good service. So when you do a service, you do it well. You are that person that's like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So how you fold your laundry is how you do everything in your life. So you fold your laundry impeccably, you have everything put in its place. This is how you conduct yourself in the rest of your life. So you have this very amazing energy to just not be sloppy, which is amazing, which is great. You're not like sloppy or neglectful or inconsistent because, oh, what's the point? It's gonna get dirty again. It's gonna, like, no, you don't believe in this. You believe like cleanliness is next to godliness. And how I do one thing is how I do everything. So if I do things right, I do everything right. I don't just neglect some things and I'm lazy in some and then some I'm not. No. You run this throughout your whole life. You also have this amazing desire to purify and improve things. So this also makes you an incredible nutritionist. You could be an incredible nutritionist. You could be an incredible holistic practitioner. You could be an incredible doctor. You can be an incredible nurse, like just a person who knows how to heal through their intellect and like knows exactly what is the perfect herbs, the perfect food, the perfect things so that your body can heal. So because of this, you naturally have a desire to purify illnesses from others or to purify from yourself or from animals. You also may have a very soft spot for animals, for people who can't help themselves. And even when you see somebody that's like suffering, let's say from a health issue or a problem, you just immediately the answers come to you. Immediately the answers come to you telling you like, oh, this is the reason why they're sick, or this is the reason why they're in this problem, and this is how they can fix it, and this is how they can make it better. So Mercury, you have a very powerful ability to just purify it and improve things naturally. There's also this quick mind and speech. Very good with your speech, very clear with your speech. You're quick with it, and you're like, you don't waste time. You know people's time is precious, and you get right to the point. Sometimes people want to be like, damn, but in reality, this is really nice. You're just like clear, concrete, and to the point. Very good with these things. At the same time, you argue to convince others about their needs. Argue for or to convince others of their needs. This may be the part where you get misunderstood, because you do have so many answers. You do have so many answers of health, of wellness, of fixing problems. You see people, like one of the things that maybe you cannot withstand is just people complaining about their life and not doing anything about it. And so when you hear somebody complaining, you naturally, like, it just comes to you. This is the solution. This is the answer. This is how you can make it better. This is how you can do it. And of course, people with their own psychological immaturities, they might fight you back. And so you turn into trying to convince others of how they can heal themselves, or convince others of how they can meet their needs at a better way. So very, very powerful energies here. This is the reason why you could definitely be an amazing healer, counselor, and you should get paid for it, because then people will actually listen to what you have to say. And you won't get frustrated. You're very industrious. You're very dedicated. You're very disciplined naturally. Your mind is disciplined. It likes to be disciplined. It likes to be strong and disciplined. Very dedicated. And you think about the results they want. You think about what other people want, and you know exactly how to help them get there. It's like you have solutions for yourself and the rest of the world. Let's just say that. And you also can be very successful because of this. Because other people get thrown, curveballs in life because of illnesses and obstacles and enemies, but you don't. You know how to outwit this. So therefore, you actually can become quite successful because of this. So this is if you have a strong Mercury here. These are the results that you can definitely get. If you don't have a strong Mercury, then you can have adverse results. If your Mercury is debilitated, retrograde, or badly aspected, you can have different results, like you are very argumentative. You get into conflicts that you don't need to be getting into. You get into arguments that you don't need to be getting into. You really have to choose your battles wisely here. Don't give your pearls to pigs is literally for you, my beautiful Mercury in the 6th. Because you may have all the answers, but then people don't want to listen, so we end up in some sort of argument. Then likes to pick intellectual fights. You may just pick into fights to intellectually fight with somebody just because you want the stimulation, but this can also cause a lot of conflicts in your life, erode relationships, and then leave you in a bitter taste. So very important for you to be very selective of what fights you really want to fight and what you don't want to fight. Also, trouble with servants and helpers and your coworkers. If you have coworkers or employees that you hire, you can have problems with them, or servants or helpers. So if your Mercury is debilitated here, there might be like animosity there. If your Mercury is strong, you know how to respect your employees and they respect you back. There's also this energy of broken education. If your Mercury is weak here, you could have not finished your education. You could have had issues, finishing your education. And so Mercury here is definitely showing that it's weak in the 6th house if you weren't able to actually finish your education. There's also this energy of mentally violent. Your mind can sometimes become very violent. How you think of others, how you think of people, how you think of oppositions, like it could become very violent mentally. So again, what can balance this out is a little bit more compassion and strengthening also your Mercury with the different remedies that I have given you at the beginning of the video. Definitely check them out. There could be frustration that also comes because of this. Your mind gets very frustrated. Because people are not listening to you, or because they're not taking your solutions, or because you feel like you can't help in the way that you wish to help. So this can bring frustration. Again, it could be a Mercury that is debilitated and that needs strengthening in the 6th house. There could also be nervous disorders. Now, again, with a Mercury in the sixth house, you already have enough energy. Like, I don't really suggest for you to take any caffeine or stimulants, because this is just going to take your nervous system haywire to another level. So, and that can end up giving you nervous disorders where you actually go into panic attacks, or where you actually, you have this nervous disorder. You don't know how to relax. You don't know how to come down. Your sleeping patterns get really bad because your nervous system is really, really altered. So we want to relax, have a lot of relaxation. Skin disorders can also come. Mental problems can also come because we're just so mental, thinking, negative thinking. And also, having all this conflict, mental conflict, can bring mental health issues. So again, practicing a lot of mindfulness to help to balance out these mental issues. Also, foot disorders, because it is 12, it's aspecting the 12th house, which are the feet. You can have some foot disorders. If you end up hurting your feet, it could be because your Mercury is debilitated or weak. We have to strengthen it in the sixth house. There could also be any more mental than physical with sex. So in sex wise, you could be more like in your mind about sex, or more fantasy in the mind than actually like in the act, that actually physically doing it. This could also be a sign of a weak Mercury in the sixth house. There could also be a lack of fertility for some, and distress, disinterest in any physical activity as well. Like, you just want to stimulate your mental mind, so then there's no interest in doing any physical things. But you would be able to make your Mercury stronger if you do exercise. Also, here, to balance out the Mercury, that can really, if you feel stuck in these things, something that can really help Mercury in these negative things, aside from the remedies that I have given you at the beginning of the video, is also having a connection with God, connecting with God, and going to temple, going to church. That's just what your astrology says. Even if you're an atheist, you're not going to lose anything by just going to temple and just saying like, hey, in case I'm wrong, can you have my back? There's no problem with that. But prayer and ritual and religion and connection with the divine, connection with God, believing in God, can really help your Mercury move forward here and heal it. So those are your messages, my beautiful people with Mercury in the sixth house. I really hope that they help. Love you guys so much. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you take advantage and book a session with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find the link for it. And if you have Mercury in the sixth house, let us know in the comments. Let us know how your Mercury have shown up for you. And of course, here we'll be able to all share, and you will be able to find other people who also have Mercury in the sixth house. Alrighty, those were your messages. Thank you so much for being here. Mercury in the sixth house, truly appreciate you. And thank you for the likes, and thank you for the hypes. And now we're going to be doing our beautiful people with Mercury in the seventh house. If you have Mercury in the seventh house, then this is for you. Welcome. So Mercury in the seventh house, this is a very interesting placement. First and foremost, it gives you the intellectual partnerships. Okay, you need a partner that you can talk to all the time. You need to be able to talk to them. They need to have very good communication. There needs to be like mental stimulation, like learning new things, talking about new things, talking about everything and under the sun. Maybe some of you guys who also have Mercury in the seventh house will do very well doing business with your partner, your spouse, doing some sort of business or some sort of collaborative work together. That could be something really good. When we have Mercury in the seventh house, I have seen that usually you end up marrying somebody younger than you. Somebody who has a very youthful spirit, and even if they're older than you, is because they have a very youthful spirit. They just are so young at heart, and they look young still. So there's this youngness about it. Now, the one thing I will say that we need to be careful with is that Mercury sometimes here may cause some affairs and marriage when it is debilitated. Now, when it is strong, Mercury can definitely give you the ability to be very clever in getting what you want in any way. So you're very good at convincing your partner, convincing your business partner, convincing clients to get what it is that you want out of business or out of a relationship. You're witty in this way. You know how to say it in a certain way so that you can get what it is that you want or how you want it, how to convince, how to influence business partners, clients, or also a spouse. There's also an artfulness about you. You're very artful. There's this artistic air about you that you naturally have, since Mercury is aspecting the first house. So people perceive you to be somewhat artistic, somewhat eloquent, someone who is a very good communicator and who has that sort of artfulness. You follow a good business plan. When you have a strong Mercury, you follow a good business plan. You like to have a good business plan. You like to execute these plans in the correct way. This makes you a great business person naturally. Naturally, you could be an amazing trader. You know exactly how to do business. You know exactly how to negotiate when Mercury is strong in the 7th house. There is also an energy for respecting the roles of engagement. You're very good at respecting people's roles, and you want everybody to respect your role, and you want everybody to take their role seriously as well. So when the Mercury is strong here, you respect the role of being a husband, or you respect the role of being a wife, you respect the role of being a business partner, and you run it very, very good and impeccably when Mercury is strong here. There is also this energy where you respect the engagements, you respect commitments, you live by these commitments, and you honor these commitments, especially if they're written in contract. You want to honor them. You want to really fulfill these commitments fully. There is also an energy of good with math naturally. You could be good with math, good with money, good with numbers. It naturally comes to you. You could be an amazing writer and a great communicator. It just comes to you very easily to communicate, and people listen to you. This is why you could be an amazing public relations naturally. People listen to you. You make good connections. You know how to talk to people, how to converse, and how to make good acquaintances. There's also a lot of skills as an astrologer naturally. If you do have Mercury in the 7th house, it can make you very skillful in astrology. You could be a minister, where now you also work with things in the government or things in a higher form. You could also be a religious worker naturally. Also, there is like this higher position. You like to help people. You like to help the working classes. And there's also a humorous energy about you. You could be very humorous, especially also with your partners, business partnerships, and clients. There's like a humorness that kind of comes to you that is very charming naturally. There is an approach to relationships first from the mind. So you really need to be in love with your spouse's mind or your business partner's mind. If there's not that intellectual connection, you're not going to be feeling that zest or that connect. You're like a sapiosexual. You really need to be made love in your mind before you can actually commit to a person. If the Mercury is weak, we can be feeling other types of symptoms when Mercury is in the 7th house, which is like relationships serve a functional purpose instead of being in a more emotionally relation. So it actually just goes down into this sort of like conditional love, where it's just a functional thing that the relationship's purpose is all about. Also, low sexual desire. It can kind of like bring some low libido. Here, if Mercury is not strong in the 7th house, there could also be angry if exact requirements are not met. So there could be, especially if you're not getting the exact requirements from your partner, your spouse, or your clients, or the people around you, then this could also be a sign of Mercury being debilitated in the 7th house. There also be too selective to get married early. So it could be have this very selective energy where it wants to get married at an early age. But I would say that Mercury in the 7th house does a lot better if they do wait a little bit longer so that they can have a better relationship with more maturity with the right partner. There could also be a lot of critical partners. Either you are a critical partner or your partner is a critical person. So this could also show like a debilitation of the Mercury in the 7th house. If you're experiencing anything of this, then I highly suggest that you do the remedies for Mercury in the 7th house at the beginning of the video. You will be able to find them there. There could also be an energy with trouble through lack of forethought, not thinking things through. And so this brings a little bit of trouble, especially in relationships and with other people and clients or in business. Written documents and contracts can also cause more problems if we don't follow the things that we promise that we're going to be doing with the contracts. If we don't follow the promises that we made during the contract, then this can definitely debilitate the Mercury in the 7th house. There could also be an unstable or anxious bladder or kidney sensitivity. So if we're experiencing anything like this, then that could definitely be a weak Mercury in the 7th house. And that is if it's debilitated, retrograde, or badly aspected, then it can be giving these results of Mercury in the 7th house. There also could be low back pain, pains in the lower back, more physical pains in the lower back, as well as any skin ailments or skin issues we can also experience with Mercury being debilitated or badly aspected in the 7th house. So if you're experiencing any of these things, or even affairs or cheatings, not following through with the contracts, anything like this, then we definitely want to do any remedies for the Mercury in the 7th house. Go to the beginning of the video where I have some remedies for Mercury there. Do those remedies, and those can really help you to strengthen your Mercury here. Now, remember that these are general messages. If you would like to look deep into your chart and understand your planets and your placements and the depth of your chart, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one today. So that is for you, Mercury in the 7th house. Please let us know in the comments if you have Mercury in the 7th house and how has this shown up for you in your life, so that you can also find other people with Mercury in the 7th house here in the community. Alrighty, that is for you, Mercury in the 7th house. Thank you for the likes and the hypes. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the 8th house. Welcome. If you have Mercury in the 8th house, then this is your summary for this aspect. Mercury in the 8th house is the transcendental thinking. This is definitely a powerful placement for research, for understanding the mysteries of life. You could be amazing at being able to read people, to understand things at a very deep philosophical and mystical way. You could be that person that reads a lot of ancient knowledge, occult, a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of alternative learning, taboo subjects. This could be something that is fascinating to you. And naturally, you have this detective ability to find the truth when it's hidden, or to call out when somebody is lying. So this transcendental thinking, when Mercury is strong in the 8th house, this definitely gives you a very quick mind. You have a very, very powerful, quick mind, very witty mind, and you're very good for research. There's very powerful researching abilities and understanding data analysis. You could be amazing at these things, as well as mentally vigorous. So there's like the strength that comes when you have Mercury in the 8th house. You have the capacity to learn many subjects at once. You have the capacity to learn very mystical and occult and subjects that are taboo that not everybody learns, even like Vedas, ancient knowledge, ancient scriptures, texts that could be very difficult to understand. You have the capacity to really understand these. You have a very keen attraction to spirituality, to fantasy. You will maybe love to read fantasy books, spiritual books, science fiction books. You could be amazing at writing any of these topics, as well as like science fiction, fantasy, or mystical, spiritual themes. There could be a very strong mysterious and mystical interests. You could be very good psychologists. Naturally, you have a very strong ability to be a psychologist, to understand things at a deeper level, to understand people's behaviors and psychological behaviors. You could be very good at these things. And also being able to discover something new through your research. There is a very powerful energy for deep meditations and philosophical insights that happen here, because you have that transcendental thinking. And when Mercury is strong here, it gives you the sight for what is hidden and what is not in plain sight. So there could be this very deep connection to the spiritual and the mystical. There is also a very strong psychic ability. There could be some psychic ability that naturally kind of happens with you, where you just know certain things, or you just feel certain things, or maybe some of you guys actually hear certain things. So there is a powerful psychic ability here that is awakened when we have Mercury strong in the eighth house. There's also a powerful energy to be a good astrologer. Definitely. Good astrologer, good at research, good mystic, good divination, good tarot reader, great psychologist, psychiatrist, great counselor. There's all these abilities for you to be very good. You're very interested as well in the dead, in the dying, the topics of death, the topics of rebirth, the topics of endings, especially death. These are very, very big topics for you. There could also be like a lot of interest in the afterlife, in reincarnation. What happens to us after we die? What happens to us in the reincarnation? What happens also psychological, archetypes, philosophical. These could be great interests for you naturally. There's also a possible inheritance from relatives outside of the inheriting family. So you can definitely, I don't know, or have like an inheritance that comes to you from like a faraway uncle that you had no idea he existed. So there could also be an ability for all these things. You're very good at trading as well. You could be very good at the stock market. You could be very good at investing. You could be very good at doing the research that you need to do in order for you to find out what to invest on. So Mercury here can be quite powerful when it is well aspected. Now, when it is weakly aspected, then we can definitely see other results. If it's badly aspected, if it has retrograde, or if it's in a detriment, then Mercury can give different results, and you definitely have to do remedies to strengthen it, because you can experience things like mental hypersensitivity, where it just you're too hypersensitive. Your mind is too hypersensitive. It feels like it perceives things that may not be there, or it gets overly stimulated very easily. So, pushing your mind too much, overstimulation, this could cause paranoia, and it could cause mental anguish naturally, because there is a lot of hypersensitivity in your mind. There could also be mentally abuse or abusing. You could be somebody who has been mentally abused, or you are somebody who mentally abuses others. If Mercury is not well aspected here, they could also be tormented in early life. Like you could have gone through like a very intense dark night of the soul that mentally tormented you very deeply. When Mercury is debilitated in this eighth house, there could be this energy of consciencelessness, like you're not conscious in what it is that you're doing. Like there's a lack of consciousness in why it is that you behave in certain ways, and you may be very blinded to your own psychology, or very blinded to your own shadow side, where you don't really perceive it or understanding. And because of this, it could lead you into being unethical, or it could lead you into being cruel or abusive. If Mercury is now well aspected here, also holds people to the letter of the law. So you could be holding people to a certain standard very strongly, where they can't really reach that level, and you may not become forgiving. Or you can also cause trouble for or through relatives, where the relatives have to go through a lot of trouble because of you, have to go through a lot of issues because of you. Your in-laws have to go through a lot of issues because of you. So this could also show a Mercury retrograde or debilitated or in detriment energy in the eighth house. There could also be an energy of deranged, or also disorderly, and like kind of a little bit chaotic, a little bit in like this constant chaos in life, like constant trauma, mental traumas all the time. And it could also be fixated on death. There could be a fixation on death now that it's getting a little bit, in the bad side, in a sort of distorted manner. There could also be some nervous and mental disorders here if it's not treated well. Mental disorders, so it is very important to take care of your mental health. It's very important to be kind to your mental health. It's very important to not go into psychosis, or to, push your mind too much, because it could crack and you can definitely lose a screw mentally there. There could also be a lot of skill ailments if there's a problem here with Mercury being weak. And there could also be respiratory complications if Mercury is weak in the 8th house. So if you've experienced any of these things, then you definitely want to strengthen your Mercury in the 8th house. Definitely go to the beginning of the video where I have remedies for you. Doing these remedies will help you to strengthen your Mercury and bring more of the positive aspects of this powerful placement. So those are your messages, my beautiful Mercury in the 8th. Remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your chart, to your situation, and to understand your chart a lot better, then definitely book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find a link to book one today. Alrighty, and please let us know in the comments if you have Mercury in the 8th house and how has this been showing up for you in your life. Here we support each other, and you will be able to find other people who also have Mercury in the 8th house. Alrighty, thank you so much for the likes and the hypes, and now we're going to be doing Mercury in the 9th. Welcome, Mercury in the 9th. This is for you if you have Mercury in the 9th house of your chart. So Mercury in the 9th house becomes very holy and very interesting energy, because this is now where you have the energy to wisely think. So Mercury becomes very beautiful here, because not only does it have that intellectual energy, but it really connects it to the wise thinking, to wisdom, to understanding things at a deeper and more wise level. So it's not just information, but it is deep knowledge that you can accumulate here. Mercury becomes very good at legal mind, law, legalities, fairness. Also the law system, religious system as well. You could be very good, amazing preacher for a cause or for a belief system that you have. You're very exacting. Your words are very exact and precise. You are very proper in your way of thinking, and you're not like speculative or like bland or vague. It's very exacting in the way that you speak and how you express yourself. There's also a great philosophical and scientific mind, both at the same time, which makes you such a great preacher. Is because you have that energy there where you can be very philosophical but very wise at the same time. There's also a powerful energy for editing. You could be an amazing writer, amazing publisher, a publicist. Naturally here, there is an energy to maybe even become an incredible writer yourself. But most of all, you could be a great editor yourself because of it. You are amazing at judicial things, where maybe you work with the law or you're a judge, but you really bring the standard of values, righteousness, and morality naturally, and you speak about this with no fear whatsoever. There's also an involvement in higher education and thinking. So a lot of professors, high university professors, high scholars, PhDs, theses, great for you guys. I mean, this is definitely an amazing master's person. You really master a lot of intellect, and so you like to be in the university, you like to be with smart people, you like to be talking about higher topics, you like to really push your intellectual knowledge and intellectual capacity to its highest level, which is fantastic for you, my beautiful Mercury in the 9th. When Mercury is strong here, you can also get a very powerful diplomatic energy naturally and very morally correct, and you just follow this moral code to the T, which gives you a lot of good luck, a lot of fortune, and a lot of expansion naturally. There is also this ability to go into long travels for businesses, so you could definitely be somebody who has a business, and it could be long travels that you do, or maybe you work with foreign affairs, or you're a diplomat, or you are a trader of foreign goods. This could be fantastic aspects of when you have a Mercury strong in the 9th house. This also gives you good fortune naturally because of this attitude of righteousness that you naturally have in life. And it is also a very innovative thinker. You think in ways that are very different, that also takes into consideration the scientific along with the philosophical to make something really powerful and legit. There is also an amazing energy to be very highly minded person, and because of this, you learn all of this because of your father. Your father was a very highly educated man, and Mercury here, when it's strong, it shows that it's a very intelligent and smart man, along with a very high-minded guru that you can have in your life. So it brings you mentors that are very smart, very intelligent, very intellectual, and very high up in there. So Mercury is very powerful in the ninth house. It gives you very good results. And you can also learn a lot of foreign languages. You may love to read all types of scriptures, not just the Bible, but just the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, everything at once. You really like to embed yourself in full culture, in full foreign affairs. You understand and respect all foreign cultures as well. So Mercury is very strong here. But when Mercury is debilitated, retrograde, or badly aspected, we can get some different results. Like you could be experiencing some immobilizing from trying to get too correct and fair. Like you try to be too dogmatic and you try to be too correct and you try to be too moralistic, that it actually kind of paralyzes the situation, paralyzes other people, and it doesn't let things flow very easily. There could also be an energy of lack of concentration, where actually there is a problem for you to finish your degrees, to finish your PhD, to finish your master's, to finish higher education, and there might be a lack of concentration that happens here if Mercury is weakly aspected or weak in the ninth house. It could also give legal complications through bad contracts, where you have to be very cautious and, again, really bring that fairness and morality in all the contracts that you do, so that we don't end up in some issue or problem with the contracts that we create. And remember, this is all because it could be weak in your chart. So you want to go to the remedies at the beginning of the video so that you're able to really understand how you can strengthen your Mercury and make it better. We also can be experiencing misunderstandings with father, where you fight with your father a lot, where you maybe fight with your guru or disrespect your guru or disrespect your father. This is definitely going to weaken your Mercury in the ninth house for sure. There could also be authorities where you don't agree with authorities or don't agree with the higher authorities, or there's disrespect or miscommunication with authorities. This is also showing that there could be a debilitated Mercury in the ninth house easily. There's also a lack of philosophical center, where it's kind of like anything goes, do as I will, who cares? And so this could also show that there is this debilitated Mercury in the ninth house that you have to be careful for. And because of that, it brings doubtful minds. It brings conflicted minds. It brings confusion in the mind. And sciatica, this could be a problem that you could also have physically if Mercury is debilitated in the ninth house. Sciatica issues, sciatica problems, mental problems for father. The father suffers a lot of mental anguish, mental problems because of your badly aspected Mercury in your chart. And there could also be hip problems. So this is all showing that there could be a debilitation in the Mercury. So definitely, if you want to strengthen your Mercury, go to the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that could definitely help you to strengthen your Mercury a lot more, so that you actually get the positive outcomes of Mercury in the ninth house. Here, another way that it can also help you to move forward is you need isolation, long distance travel to faraway lands. And a lot of meditation and yoga could be fantastic for you to also balance out the Mercury in the ninth house. Alrighty, so those were your messages, Mercury in the ninth house. I hope that they help. Remember that these are general messages. If you want me to look into your chart and get even more detailed readings of what your chart is all about, then definitely book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find a link. Alrighty, so those were your messages. Now let us know if you have Mercury in the ninth in the comments, and how has this shown up for you, so that we can always also support you here. You can find other people who also have Mercury in the ninth house, and so that we can connect in that way. So that is for you, Mercury in the ninth. Thank you so much for the likes, and thank you so much for the hypes. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the 10th. Welcome, Mercury in the 10th. If you have Mercury in the 10th house, then this is for you, my beautiful Mercury in the 10th house. So for you, this is a very powerful placement where Mercury becomes very clever. Excuse me, Mercury becomes a very strong intellectual occupant or intellectual CEO. You have that boss mind. You have that mind of becoming a boss, of doing business. And people will remember you in this world because of your speech, because of your communication, because of your writing abilities. So you could definitely make a name for yourself and a status for yourself just through your communication, your intellect, your scholarly nature, and your writings. This will definitely bring you up to some very, very big heights. So when we have Mercury strong in the 10th house, we can experience pursuits of the mind oriented to careers such as writing, speaking, editing, administration, counseling, engineering, design, science, teaching, anything where you can use your great intellect to make a name for yourself. So Mercury here is definitely bringing you to the heights through these abilities. Mercury, you have a destiny with mercurial topics so that you can make a living, a status, a profession, a purpose out of these things. So anything with writing, administration, logistics, strategic, editing, and counseling, speaking, speaker, all of these things are fantastic for you. There's a great ability to teach and to learn. And even if you're just like known to be a very scholarly, intellectual person, you can even make your name out of this. There's also a very thoughtful and discriminating person. You're known for being very thoughtful. The world will know you for being very thoughtful, very discriminating, very cheerful, and very philosophical in your nature naturally. So you actually seek to understand before knowing, before doing. So you definitely think things through before acting. You plan things through before acting. You strategize things through before acting. And this is the reason why you have a high success rate, because you're able to do this for yourself. You're very good at organizing, at being strategic, at logistical, at business plans, at putting people in order, at executing plans to get to goals in businesses and in companies. So this is why you're very, very powerful in the working sector. You're known to being that person that is extremely intelligent and who always has solutions to anything and everything. So very powerful in that matter. And you always are very methodical in how you do things. You're quite methodical. You don't do things just because. You really think things through. And that's why you have a high success rate naturally when Mercury is strong in the 9th house. There's also an energy of earning through learning. So you learning actually gives you more money. So it's very important for you to always be learning, always being studying, always, understanding more, learning more. And that will just raise your status more and more and more naturally in your life. Now, if Mercury is badly aspected, debilitated, retrograde, or in a bad energy where it's just weak, then Mercury is going to give you different results, where Mercury can be giving you results of indecisiveness, especially indecisiveness in career. There could be this energy of indecisiveness. You fight for meaningless details, where you just get caught up in too many details and you fight about it and you cause conflict with your coworkers and authorities because of this. There could also be a lack of stamina, where you don't want to keep working and there's like a lack of stamina to keep pursuing, to keep working, to keep making things happen. There could also be a mentality that gets exhausted. You maybe go into burnout because you're overworking yourself. So it's again the disbalance, not working too much but not working enough. That could show a Mercury debilitated in weak in the 10th house. That could also be perceived by others as weak or indecisive, inefficient. So if the Mercury is weak, then your authority figures and what people remember you for is being somebody who was weak and inefficient. So we want to strengthen that Mercury. Check out the remedies at the beginning of the video that can really help you with that. There's also like an unstable career, a fickle career, like it changes all the time. You're indecisive about what is your purpose in life. There might be like you take one job and then you change it and then you do something else. So this indecision really affects your career, your reputation, and your status in life. So very important to maintain a strong Mercury here, to have that strong decision-making ability. There could also be this energy of deceptive in career. You want to be careful with this, like not using your intelligence to get ahead or to go up the corporate ladder in deceptive ways, because that will also show Mercury being debilitated in the 10th house. There could be speaking too quickly or not when it's not your turn. So cutting people off, speaking too fast, not having clear communication, not listening enough to your authorities, not listening enough to your coworkers, not listening enough to the people you work with, or even your clients or your public, like not listening to them. This could also be showing a Mercury retrograde or weak or debilitated in your 10th house. There could also be an energy of lack of correct foresight and planning, especially when it comes to business. So if you feel like you've planned things, you've tried, and it's just not giving you the results, this could be because the Mercury, it needs more strengthening in the 10th house. There's also an energy of obsessiveness or feeling stuck especially in career, like mental blocks, especially in advancing in business and career. And there could be nervous disorders that happen when we have this, and also feeling depressed, feeling sad, feeling depressed, feeling meek, like you can't reach the goals that you want to reach. So if you're experiencing anything like this, then that's definitely showing that there could be a Mercury debilitated or weak in your 10th house. So I highly suggest that you go do the remedies at the beginning of the video so that you can strengthen your Mercury and therefore get a better result. Another remedy specifically for you, Mercury in the 10th, is that you really learn to focus on becoming the best person and like really developing your own self-care. Okay, when you do your own self-care and when you take care of your body, when you take care of your image, when you take care of yourself, this naturally also helps your Mercury in the 10th to become stronger. So those are some remedies for you. And remember that these are general messages. Mercury in the 10th, I really hope that they help. Love you guys so much. If you like these messages, make sure to leave me a comment, and also remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a more specific message to your situation and to your life and to your chart, then definitely we can have a call together, a consultation together where we interpret your chart to the detail, to a T, and you can book that in the description here below to find a link. Let us know in the comments if you have Mercury in the 10th house and how has this shown up for you. We will love to hear it. And here you can also find other people who have Mercury in the 10th house. Alrighty, Mercury in the 10th house, those were your messages. I hope that they helped. Love you guys so much. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the 11th house. Welcome, Mercury in the 11th house. If you have Mercury in the 11th house, then this is for you. Mercury in the 11th house is, the keywords is like clever with opportunities and with profits. Okay, this is the house of big gains as well as the house of acquaintances, friends. So here there is a powerful ability for you to first and foremost be a very sociable person. You can have a large network of friends, and especially large network of people who are highly smart. Those are your favorites. It doesn't matter if they're old or young. Usually you may like to be surrounded by younger people, but they need to have this youthful spirit about them. They need to have this spunk about them. They need to be very smart, very intellectual. And if they can keep up in conversation with you, then you definitely create some very good relationship with these people with Mercury in the 11th house. If you have Mercury strong in the 11th house, then you will definitely get some results where you are able to capitalize on your opportunities. You know how to see opportunities, collaborations, big gains, and that helps you to capitalize on these great opportunities, who to work with, who to associate with. And you may have the keen eye that if I associate with this person, I'll be able to go up in my life. So very, very good at being discerning of who actually give your energy and time to when Mercury is strong in the 11th house. It also makes you extremely friendly. You talk to everybody and everything. Everybody wants to be your friend. And because of this, you make great relations and you may have a really big network of people. You also cultivate contacts and influential and intellectual people. So you have a lot of connections with intellectuals, a lot of connections with influential people, and you know how to maintain these relationships fresh, and you know how to keep up with these relationships, and these relationships eventually also bring you massive gains in your life. You're also protected by alliances with powerful people, so you have that connection with a person that is going to protect you, is going to have your back, and they're a person of power, they're a person that are very, very influential, and you have those connections easily when you have Mercury strong in the 11th house. There is also an energy of smart at managing cash flow. Cash flow comes to you, big gains come to you, but you know how to manage it well. You know how to work big gains. You know how to manage this cash flow in the correct ways. So when you have a Mercury strong in the 11th house, you should have pretty good finances, definitely. There is also an energy of intelligent older siblings and friends. So your grandparents are very intelligent, your older brother, older sister are very intelligent, and you learn a lot from them. And you almost feel like they're like your friend, not so much like family, but this friendship energy. You like to learn from the wise ones who are older than you, and you accept their advice. So it's a great placement for Mercury in the 11th house. It also gives you very strong skills in math, in science, and in astrology. There is this deep connection with math, astrology, and science naturally. So you have this innovative mind, this inventive mind. You think outside the box. You also think very humanitarian. You think for everybody, for the happiness of humanity, for the happiness of the world. That is your natural inclination. There's also a lot of success in business. You are a person that can have lots of success in business naturally, and you could be very politically astute. So if you ever go into politics, you could also do really, really well in this aspect of life. So that is if you have a Mercury strong in the 11th house. Now, if Mercury is debilitated, badly aspected, or retrograde, you could be getting some different results here, where Mercury may be giving you more of a poor financial management, where maybe you're not managing your cash flow very well, or you're not gaining those gains very well. There could be disagreements with friends, disagreements with grandparents, and disagreements with older brothers and sisters that could also be showing that your Mercury is weak and debilitated in this 11th house. There could be a weak cash flow, like you're not really getting the money that you want. You're not really getting the flow of abundance that you want. And it could be a very ingrid, you may have like this disputes and fights and misunderstandings a lot with friendships and the support around you. You lose contacts, you burn bridges. That is when Mercury is debilitated in the 11th house. So if you do experience any of this, you do want to go and do the remedies at the beginning of the video. That's definitely going to help in strengthening this Mercury in the 11th house, so you can get more of the positive effects. There could also be an energy of being unreliable. You may be unreliable to your contacts, or unreliable to your friendships, unreliable to your grandparents or your older brothers and sisters. There could also be a lack of responsiveness, where it's like too aloof, too disconnected, and you're not there all the way. So it is this energy of lack of responsiveness, of being there. So that could also lead you to having deceitful friends or dishonest friends. So be careful with this. If you do see that friends are being dishonest with you, they're being deceitful with you, really, strengthen your Mercury retrograde, Mercury debilitated, and, start putting some boundaries around the situation so that the Mercury doesn't suffer anymore. There's also this energy of listening to the wrong advice, finding the wrong association, making friends with the wrong people who actually degrade you instead of making you into a better person. So be very, very selective of your friendships. And if you see any red flags with friendships or acquaintances, then let that be a sign that we have to kind of walk away from that and to create stronger and more reliable friendships in your life, because that's where a lot of your success also lies. There's this energy of also taking of following like wild schemes and dreams, like dreams that are wild and schemes that are not really in congruence with reality or in congruence with something good for you or the world. So maintaining more of that humanitarian side, that your dreams are not for something weird or out there, like a dream that is actually good for society and humanity. Very important. If your Mercury is weak here, it could also give you the energy of taken in by misplaced logic and bizarre conspiracies. So you have to also kind of give some boundaries to your conspiracy theories, wild understandings, especially around reality, so that it doesn't end up actually detrimenting you in disempowering your life, but actually empowering your life. So very important. This is another reason why Mercury can be debilitated and show debilitation in the 11th house. So if you're experiencing any of these things, then I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can really help you to strengthen your Mercury better and to make it stronger. And Also, another way to strengthen your Mercury is integrity, being a person of your word, and really managing your finances as best as possible. Doing some fasting of food and consumption can also help strengthen your Mercury, specifically for you guys who have Mercury in the 11th house. So those are your messages, Mercury in the 11th house. If you like them, remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a more specific message to your chart and understand your chart a lot better, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me in the description here below. You will be able to book one today in the link. And those are your messages. Let us know in the comments if you have Mercury in the 11th house and what has shown up for you with Mercury in the 11th house, so you can also find other people who also have your aspect of Mercury in the 11th house. Alrighty, those were your messages. Thank you so much for being here. And now we're going to be doing Mercury in the 12th house. Welcome. If you have Mercury in the 12th house, then this is for you. Mercury in the 12th house is a very spiritual and transformative energy. It is the liberation through knowledge. And what's interesting is that there could be a little bit of spiritual, like the spirituality becomes very intellectual here, and you intellectualize spirituality a lot. Mercury in the 12th house, when it's strong, it can give some very positive energies and positive outcomes, like oriented towards liberation, enlightenment, moksha. This is like what you're interested in. This is what you like: meditation, spirituality, yoga. You could be very agile with these things. You could be an amazing teacher of these things, and you could be an amazing practitioner and accumulate immense amounts of knowledge when you have this aspect in strong in the 12th house. It could also give you the possible member of a spiritual and charitable or education or health organization. You could be really good at opening up a nonprofit. You can be very good at opening some sort of volunteer thing where you help others, where you help the world, something educational for children in Africa or for any charity. You could be amazing at these things where you really bring that help to the world, and especially when Mercury is strongly aspected here. This makes you an amazing counselor. You have the ability to see what other people can't see. When somebody comes and they don't know what subconsciously is bothering them or what subconsciously is holding them back, your Mercury in the 12th house can actually see what is that and show them what they cannot see themselves. Because of this, you're an amazing listener. I would say it is very important for you to speak up every now and again, because you would just listen, and never like put your own 2 cents in the situation. So we have to keep kind of like expression, that everything is not just internal and within. Expressing can be something very good with you, especially if you express yourself through imaginative ways, through creativity, through music, through art, through mysticism, through spirituality. Then these are great ways of you being able to channel this very spiritual energy in your life. There is also an energy of very generous, very self-sacrificing. You have this murder concept where you really want to help the other person, so it doesn't bother you to be self-sacrificing to help other people. It doesn't bother you at all. There could also be an unbounded mind, like your mind can really reach some high levels of artistry, high levels of imagination. You could be really good at astral traveling, or meditation, introspection, leaving your body to another spiritual world. Your mind can be very powerful in tapping into these invisible worlds that are not from here. You are very good at these things. There's also an interest in philosophy and faraway places of the state of mind. So as I mentioned, meditation would be fantastic for you. Going to an ashram, going to a pilgrimage, going far away in the mountains, in the Himalayas, meditating. This will be something that you naturally gravitate towards. And Mercury will take you here when Mercury is strong in the 12th house. It also gives educated out of the country. You can end up getting a lot of education outside of your country, outside of where you live, outside where you were born, getting boarding school in like a really foreign away land or in another country. So foreign education can be fantastic for you, and it really expands your mind, it really expands your world, and it's fantastic for you when Mercury is strong here in the 12th house. It can also, you can also derive a lot of pleasures just mentally, just being in your mind mentally. You can derive a lot of pleasures naturally from this. So very, very fertile imagination. Very, very fertile imagination. Very introspective. You could also be an amazing writer when you isolate yourself. When you isolate yourself, you get the most brightest ideas. You get the most clarity that you can possibly have. So every now and again, you do need to have like isolation for yourself. And this is really good for your mind and your mindset. Now, if Mercury is debilitated, retrograde, or badly aspected in the 12th house, we could be getting some different results, like, being fooled by false gurus, false teachers. So you have to be very careful. You really have to try to look for that bona fide spiritual guru that actually has had a guru and a guru of a guru of a guru, so that you can not end up in a bad situation. Very gullible in general. There could be this gullibleness about you, and that's why we need to strengthen this Mercury so that it doesn't get you into trouble. Like naivete doesn't get, like the lack of discernment can get you in trouble. So Mercury here needs to be strengthened if you're experiencing anything like this. Also, a lack of confidence, where you maybe have this lack of confidence in speaking up and speaking your truth and saying how you feel and expressing your emotions or expressing the incredible imagination that you have. So very important to be able to express these things and to strengthen and to not be so timid and shy and internal. There could also be a poor focus, where it's difficult for you to focus. It's difficult for you to finish things. You start things, but you don't finish them. And so this could be a sign of Mercury being debilitated in the 12th house. There could also be this continuous thinking, where it's hard for you to follow a complete thought process. It could be difficult for you to read because of that. So the mind can be kind of like all over la la land. And that could also show that there could be a debilitation in your Mercury in the 12th house. We need to strengthen it with the remedies at the beginning of the video. There could be a lack of effort or power to accomplish, where you're just like, oh, what's the point? I don't care. And kind of like in this renouncing energy all the time. So that could also show a Mercury debilitated in the 12th house. There could be an energy so worrisome at the same time, and victimization and anxiety that naturally kind of comes here. Then also becoming a murderer of some kind, and also poor memory, where you forget things, where you can hold on to things mentally, where you can hold on to the cognitive understandings mentally. This could be showing a weakness in your Mercury in the 12th house. There could also be a narrow-minded and pettiness due to an incapacity to think big, okay? So if it's narrow-minded, if it's incapable of seeing the big picture, then this is showing that Mercury is debilitated in the 12th house. Also, low sex drive. You're disconnected from the sex, you're disconnected from the pleasure or just anything in life. You're kind of like too renounced. Then this could also be showing like an energy of debilitation of Mercury in the 12th house. There could also be an energy of being depressed, being too much in your thoughts, being too isolated and lonely sometimes. And physically, we can have like skin ailments, skin problems, foot problems. If your feet are having issues, then this is showing a debilitation of Mercury in the 12th house. Mental disorders, not understanding our mind. The mind has like left the building. So that could also be showing a Mercury debilitation in the 12th house. There could be imprisonment of the mind, like being imprisoned by your own mind, by your own thoughts, and kind of paralyzing you to take action or do anything. And it could also give paralysis of both physically and mentally capacities, where you just get paralyzed mentally and paralyzed physically. And you could also feel a little bit clumsy. So all of these things could be a showing that Mercury is debilitated in your 12th house. I highly suggest that you go check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that is going to show you how you can strengthen your Mercury and make it more powerful so you can get more of the positive benefits of Mercury in the 12th house. Now, those are your messages. And remember, if you would like to have a specific message to your situation where we go deep into your natal chart, deep into your transits, deep into what your chart is all about, then definitely book a consultation with me in the description here below. In the link, you will be able to book one. Alrighty, Mercury in the 12th, those were your messages. Please let us know in the comments if you have Mercury in the 12th house and how has this showed up for you in your life. We can also find other people who also have Mercury in the 12th house here, and we can all support each other. So that is for you, my beautiful Mercury in the 12th house. Thank you so much for the likes and the hype. And thank you so much to all my brothers and my sisters for being here for this analysis of Mercury through the houses. I hope that you were able to understand so much more about your Mercury placement. Thank you so much for the likes, the hypes, and the comments. And thank you so much for being here and listening to this video. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Hari Bol and Hari Krishna.